Hello, Internet. Look at this lovely little Fidget HQ pouch. We are bringing you another CCR. CCR? Little credence? No, we're talking a cold car review. Now, it's only 36 degrees, but that wind is kicking out there, which is going to destroy my mic setup. So we're doing it in the car. This one, well, let's get it out of here first. Oh, boy. Talk about your grail status. Forgot my Carver's Customs, but these Fidget HQ pouches are really nice as well. So, in any event, talk about your grail. Now, this is probably going to be an annoying review for me because I've got decent light here, but then all of a sudden we get the sunshine coming through. So that might be nice for up close. It's just kind of a little annoying to try to keep the lighting and the exposure right. So I know my audio quality isn't that great, but I do like to have good video quality. Woo! Oh, we can warp the buttons though. Anyway, so this is the Compass Mini stainless steel, often referred to as the X3, and I didn't know why that was at first, but someone informed me that it's a compass, right? That's the name of the spinner. Plus it's got a compass laser on it. Plus it's got a compass on the button, so 3 compasses. A laser engraved compass with compass buttons. So we got the north and the south. From the north, to the south, to the south, to the east, to the east, to the west, to the west. Rough Riders gonna show you who ride the best. Anywho, so really well done. I kind of actually want to show some of this off in the light. So essentially what you've got is an immaculate finish here. It's some sort of stonewash machining, slightly polished action going on here. And then you can see the laser engraving goes off into the side. That's got sort of this more stonewash, more aggressive, kind of somewhere between a media bust and a stonewash. I think it's called like a stonewash, but it's just a little different on the arms here. And let's just breathe it in for how good it looks here for a second. Then the buttons, obviously, also excellently done. Oh, you know what? I forgot the tin, because the tin that this comes in is nice as well. It's a little metal tin with a little wooden display stand. Maybe I can, I know I won't be able to get it uploaded. You've seen what those look like. Go around and check them out, but they come in really excellent boxes. Like the fit and finish on these are nice. So big, huge shout out to James Brewer for this guy. Sorry about clearing my throat there. I'm trying to remember to turn away when I do that, and I definitely did not do that this time. But big shout out to James. He got this, showed me some pictures, and I jokingly said, hey, let me know when you want to sell at retail. And like the next day, he actually wanted to do that. So this is pricey. This is $275. And that's the retail price of it, so it is an expensive spinner. But getting something like this for retail is kind of unheard of unless you actually score it on the drop. Now, I've tried on a couple drops. Anybody that says like the fidget spinner scene is dying, apparently ZeroFeud hasn't heard that that's the case because their drops are still sold out in seconds immediately. A lot of sadness over that. So let's bring it back down, get it to focus. There we go. But really excellent spinner, and again, big shout out to James. So let's pop this off real quick. Now the bearing that was in it, I de-shielded it and tried to had some issues with the shielding, getting it to pop off. So I ended up magnetizing the bearing, and I almost left it because it's kind of cool. I posted a video on Facebook, if you'd seen it, where the spinner basically would sit and almost looked like it was a compass, kind of rocking back and forth and pointing in a certain direction based on where that bearing was locked in there, which I thought was kind of cool. And again, didn't seem to affect the spin, but it just bothered me that I knew that was going on. So it's sort of like, you know, if you've got a scratch under, I don't know, your hood or something like that in your car, probably not a good example, but you know, something that only you know is there, but you know it's there. So so what I ended up doing was throwing one of the spare bearings from the Talisman in there. It is an 8-ball hybrid ceramic with a nylon cage. What's funny is I was doing a live video, and someone was asking me about bearings and stuff like that, and I was talking about the 8-ball bearing and the torque bar that I really liked, and they're like, hey Tim, what 10-ball feels really like an 8-ball to you, or the closest to that, because you don't see a lot of 8-balls, especially hybrid ceramics these days, or I guess when you do see them, they're usually hybrid ceramics, but you're not seeing a lot of them. And I was like, you know, the one that comes with the Talisman reminds me a lot of an 8-ball, and I put that in the Compass, and then I took the buttons off and was like, oh, it is an 8-ball, that's why. So just so you know, you can tell the difference when you spin spinners for a living. I shouldn't say a living, but when you spin them 2 or 3 hours a day for almost a year now. So anyway, onto the Compass though. So fit and finish on this guy, absolutely 100% perfect. Now I've heard things of kind of referring to these guys almost like the Apple of the spinner scene, in terms of they really just have that much attention to detail. They really put in the work and the effort, and I would agree. I mean, there isn't, you know, and again, I even got this secondhand, and there isn't really a blemish to be found on this thing that I can see that I would have cause to have concern with. Just absolutely gorgeous looking spinner. So how does it spin, you ask? How does it spin? So first and foremost, with this kind of bearing that's in there, it is a bit looser. It's designed to have a little bit more play and a little bit more speed, but I'm enjoying that in my spinners these days. Not so much for the spin time you get, but when you have those really loose, fast bearings, they feel fast, right? They feel faster than something like a one drop, or even, you know, like a super bearing or something like that, which still feel pretty fast, definitely faster than a one drop. But yeah, I'm liking those, like the Heck super bearings, HC2s, so the second hybrid ceramics, not the one with that little rust coating action, although I do like those for feedback. But yeah. So this is getting, with this bearing in there, we're getting about 6 minutes and 43 seconds on a table spin and 9 minutes and 34 on a vertical spin I got with this guy. So she can spin. She can spin. Really, really excellent profile. Actually, let me take the buttons off again because I really like the profile of this without the buttons. Oops. Come back here, button. Just the way that waist is cut in there, it just feels nice to hold. It just feels like a quality piece. So we started talking about how it spins, and I got distracted, as is wont to happen on my channel. Let's put the buttons back on there. But how does it spin? So the first and foremost, it actually almost feels, I wonder if they use some sort of like wax when they stonewash it. You know, I was talking with a gentleman over at True Spin, and he does those velocities and eternities and has that bearing removal tool I really like. And he mentions using like walnut shells and like a car wax, like a turtle wax or something like that, kind of mixed in with the walnut shells when he does his final stone washing for the polish. And this almost feels like it's got a wax kind of surface. It feels pretty slick and slippery. It does give a bit of grip, so it's not like gripless, especially with these buttons with the laser engraving, and the, you know, the standard kind of ZeroFeud, like slope, flat, little tiny step, and then a little flat dish. And they're pretty big. They're probably 21, maybe 22 millimeter buttons, so they're big enough to get some good grip. But it just feels a little slippery, which sometimes when you're fidgeting with it can actually, you know, detracts a little bit. I like to have a little bit of grip for good preloaded flicks. But aside from that, everything else on this is, there's a reason, y'all. There's a reason why ZeroFeud has the reputation they do, and there's a reason why they sell out. This is an A+ world-class spinner. This is in a serious collector's collection, a must-have. Now, at first, I really wanted the full size, not the mini. The full size is a little bit longer with these raised weights, which are pretty generous. It looked a lot smaller to me, or a lot thinner, but then when I got it, these are actually feel pretty thick. It feels like it's got some good weight and density there. Oh, well, let's weigh it, shall we? But you're gonna see, we got a good fidgeting weight here. Ready? Oops, not in ounces. Right, 65 grams, essentially. Really good fidgeting weight for most people. Almost a little light for me, but I'm realizing more and more when I want something for fidgeting, I do want something lighter. I can handle some heavy stuff. We'll get into that later on this week, probably tomorrow. But yeah, really, really fantastic spinner. So yeah, so fidgeting, pulling on this, again, aside from the little detractors where it's a little slippery, pulling on this, you get plenty of grip essentially from the step, so your fingers get in there really well. It's light enough with the weight distributed in such a way that feels really fast. It's really great to flick, to push, to interrupt the spin, so you can stop it, start it, stop it, start it, or you can just interrupt the spin without having to stop it. Even this is really good. So you're either catching this here or some of these corners. So I've actually was trying to do this a little bit, as I find that sometimes this works a little bit better when my hands are really dry and there's more slipperiness going on. Sorry about the cuticles there, everybody. Just dry skin. I've been actually lotioning my hands. I've been really trying to make a concerted effort to have my hands look good for you guys. It's just the cold weather, my skin just does not like it. So in any event, that's yeah, fidgeting, pulling, preloaded flicks, skipping a finger, doing this sort of thing. It's, again, it's light and it's fast, so you can get the old 2-3-1-P, or I guess you can flick it too. But really just an excellent spinner to handle. Really well done. Balance is fantastic. Again, this bearing is super loose, so there's a slight imbalance on this side, but you see it falls really slowly and it doesn't fall all the way over and back. So while it's not perfect, it's not far off. And again, it's moving real slow on a fast bearing, so a lot of bearings that might not even move. But again, this is a really fast bearing that I put in it because, again, that's what I'm really liking these days. So, and even that bearing can, with as loose as it is, could probably throw the balance off a little bit because this shield, the center race, can move just a little. And again, it only takes a fraction to really do that. I actually don't think it. I think it looked perfect when I had the stock bearing that was in it. So, again, that's not. We're gonna take that as a slight against them. So, and. Yeah, just the excellent stuff going on over at ZeroFeud. Again, they're really making good stuff. Really, really quality, really high end. You know, you're going to pay a lot for it. If you get something like a plain spinner and you get it on a drop, you know, you're looking in the neighborhood of around 160 to 180, I think is what a lot of the kind of standard materials go for in either the machine or the stone wash. But, you know, depending on what you're looking for, these still sell for quite a premium in the aftermarket, which is why it took me so long to get it. I wasn't getting lucky on the drops. They hadn't been having a lot of drops, so I just completely missed out on a couple, and then actually missed out, you know, getting cart sniped or whatever you want to call it, just part of the game we play. But they've always done what appeared to be really good, really quality stuff out there. So, negatives, the only negative I can think of is the availability and the price. The price isn't too bad for what you're getting, but the availability really hurts. So having something with this well finished, with this sort of lasering and design, yeah, $275 might be a little steep for it, but again, I think it's worth it in the end. And I still EDC these, so EDC all grails. Ken Hobby Timmy recommended. I got to give this, we'll give it 1.5 awkward thumbs up. Part of the reason it's a half is chances are you're going to have to get this on the secondary, and in most cases I don't enjoy paying more than retail. Now in some really rare spinners that aren't made anymore, that is okay. You know, I don't like when someone buys it and then immediately sells it for a profit, but if you've had it for a while and then you go to sell it and that's just what the secondary prices are, you'd be silly not to sell it for more than what it's would sell for, right? The market will allow what the market will allow for. So if you try to put it up for 400 and it doesn't sell for that, well, that's not what the market allows for. So you kind of have to do your research, yada, yada, yada. But I can't really recommend, for me personally, buying anything more than retail in most cases. Which then leaves you with a drop, which are few and far between and hard to get. I shouldn't say few and far between. It seems like they do them with some regularity, although I'm not sure how much lately. This also has a really cool spin profile when it's spinning. We should mention, with those little rings from the compass, you're kind of getting a very slight warp, but if you can imagine that just all the way around, almost like that. See how it flickers out as the frame rate kind of tries to update and exposure for the light that we're getting in the car coming in and out of the sun. Science. Yeah, so that's kind of why it sort of gets a half thumb. Also, one like this is very expensive, and I think for something like this, unless you really care about the aesthetic and the design, which I actually do quite a bit, which is one of the reasons I'm really happy with this one. $275 is a lot to spend on a spinner, so look for something in the plane, look for one of their tries, look for the deals, even look for like a scratch and dent or something like that, because for the most part, scratches and dents don't really matter a whole lot. So most people that are after the ZeroFeuds are really trying to collect them, so they're really going to be looking for pristine ones, so you might be able to find a deal on some of those, but people also take care of them and you don't see them scratched and dented too often. So anywho, so ZeroFeud compass, mini compass X3, A+ world-class spinner, belongs in a collection if you can manage to score one under the right circumstances. So hope you enjoyed the review. Great little fidgeter, really fast, really enjoy it. I've enjoyed carrying this. I did the whole loophole review week last week, so I've actually been able to carry this a fair amount, and it's one I've actually wanted to carry as well, so that says a lot for me. So hope y'all enjoy it, internet. Kisses. Oh, West Side.